Nazareth, a fifth Thanksgiving celebration was held for the two new saints. The Library of the Custody of the Holy Land in Jerusalem has organized an exhibition of historical books coming originally from Syria. Every war causes more and more destruction, and reconstruction takes time. The experience of the journalist Andrea Krogmann, recounted in photographs taken in Gaza. We meet the last Christian family remaining in the West Bank village of Sebastia, a place which is steeped in history and archeology. In Nazareth, the fifth Thanksgiving celebration for the two new saints takes place. The spacious Basilica of the Annunciation is full. Seeing so many people united in prayer is a surprise that brings an extraordinary feeling of joy to those places where Christians represent a tiny flock.
Penso che il più grande miracolo che hai compiuto.
I think that the greatest miracle that these two saints performed, the Christian people of the Holy Land here, is creating an atmosphere of common prayer, because it had been such a long time since we had seen so many people praying together here in the Holy Land.
Tanta gente che prega insieme qui in Terra Santa.
The two canonizations were followed and attended, but not just by those within the church. Many Christians, Catholics and other denominations have rejoiced and were present as well, a true church event in a global sense.
L'annuncio della santificazione ha fatto un grande.
The announcement of canonization has had a tremendous effect on many. They knew nothing about them, and they were amazed when they heard about them at the gatherings led by several nuns who told them about the saints' lives and the miracles they had performed when they were alive. They did not know anything about them, but now are all in a hurry to read books about our saints and learn much more about them.
Libri per leggere e saper molto di più sulla nostra santa.
Between the two new saints and Nazareth, there is a historical bond, because Mariam Bawaldi made a pilgrimage to Nazareth before she died in order to indicate the place where the Carmel would be built, and Marie Alphonsine spent a few years of her life as a nun in Jaffa of Nazareth. It is this proximity, along with the recognition that the two new saints are women from their own land, that causes people to be in amazement.
فبفضله سرتم في المسيح يسوع الذي هو لنا من الله.
Chi ha detto dall'Oriente non esce un uomo giusto? No, anzi.
Who said that righteous men never come out of the East? No, in fact, Arab men and women can be saints. Be courageous. There are and there will be men and women saints from the East to illuminate and give light to the East, although the East now, as you know, is in a situation of great suffering and everything needs to be changed. But Jesus always remains above us, our star, and so does his mother, Mary, who helps us on our journey toward holiness.
Eccetera, ma sempre rimane Gesù sopra la nostra stella e anche la mamma Maria che aiuta noi per il nostro cammino verso la santità.
Yet the happiness of this day is not complete. It cannot be complete. Too many clouds darken the sky. Among the many ambassadors present, the Italian ambassador admitted to having mixed feelings of both joy and pain.
Credo che non solo sia importante per me personalmente, ma sia importante.
I believe that it is important not only for me personally, but for the entire international community to witness the attachment of the Christian presence, which is rooted here more than anywhere else. If there is no Christian presence here, then where? So at this time, perhaps the inspiration of the two new saints can also help the Christian communities in the region, in the Middle East, to find strength in their suffering. Today is a day of joy. There is a happy and serene atmosphere, but we know that many Christians in the region are suffering, and we must also remember them.
Qui è una giornata di gioia, si respira un clima felice e sereno, ma sappiamo che tanti cristiani nella regione soffrono e quindi dobbiamo pensare anche a loro.
And if God is bringing holiness to these places, among these Arab communities, it is the same holiness that brings their consolation. Because if He gives holiness, He will also provide the rest. So we face everything on the path of holiness courageously. This is the conclusion to the celebrations for the two saints.
Questa messa credo che sia importante per noi qui a Nazareth per due motivi. Prima, per ringraziare.
I think this Mass is important for us here in Nazareth for two reasons. First, to thank the Lord. From this land, from the Holy Land of Nazareth, there are two saints. Normally we see the saints at a distance from us. Here we are close to these saints. The second important reason for us is that these two saints have taught us to be humble and simple.
Questi due santi ci hanno insegnato di essere umili e semplici.
Queste due suore.
These two saints are bringing the Church together more than ever. They give us hope and courage during these difficult times. We saw how the faithful responded to the call. They prayed well. We hope to have two protectors in heaven, praying for us and for peace in the Holy Land.
Due protettori, protettrici in cielo che pregano per noi e per la pace in Terra Santa.
A collection of valuable historical and religious books brought from Syria by Franciscan archaeologist Father Michele Picarillo was presented for the first time in Jerusalem at the Library of the Custody of the Holy Land. This is an important sign at a time when the Christian presence, particularly in Syria, is in serious danger.
The librarian decided to expose some of the ancient books coming from the library of Aleppo, Franciscan Library of Aleppo, in sign of solidarity with the Christians that are living, what remains of the Christian presence in Aleppo. And also a sign of hope for the future. What we are assisting now is that this caliphate wants to destroy all the history of the Christian presence in Syria and in Iraq. And we want to show that in spite of all these attempts, our roots are still there, will remain there, and from these roots that we are exposing, we want to restart again our future in Syria.
The books here were brought back about 5 or 6 years ago by Father Michele Picarillo, and these are some of the most important examples of the thousands of books that we have in Aleppo. The books, as you know, are being destroyed everywhere in Syria now. But we bring this here to show the people that these books are from different languages, from Europe, from different countries, on different things, to show that in Syria before there was a lot of cultural exchange. People were open to different languages, different religions, and this is what we want to show in this exhibition.
The exhibition is an opportunity to admire the variety of books that cover various topics such as the music, religion, language, history, and the traditions of the Christians who are still living in that afflicted and devastated part of the world.
Questa mostra è nata come un'esigenza per rispondere in qualche modo alla situazione drammatica che oggi vive.
This exhibition arose from the need to respond in some way to the dramatic situation that Syria and the city of Aleppo in particular are experiencing. Our aim is to showcase and promote some of the books that are now being kept here at the Custody's Library, but used to be kept at the Franciscan Library of the Monastery of Aleppo, because in the face of a violent dictatorial regime that is set on destroying the life and the culture of the people, we understand the need to save this culture and thus the identity of Christians in Syria.
La cultura delle persone, noi capiamo la necessità di salvare questa cultura e quindi l'identità dei cristiani oggi presenti in Siria.
These are unique works that give this exhibit a message of its own.
Un altro pezzo, seppur non troppo pregiato, è quello con cui abbiamo deciso di concludere l'esposizione. Si tratta infatti di un manoscritto risalente al...
Another work in particular is the one which we have decided to end the show. It is in fact a manuscript dating back to 1831, which is a conversation manual. So on the left side, we find everyday phrase in Italian, and then on the other side, we can see the Arabic translation. This allows us to understand that the need for communication and exchange between the different cultures was very important. This is the message we want to send through our exhibition.
Tra culture differenti. Insomma, questo è il messaggio che vogliamo far passare appunto attraverso la nostra mostra.
So last year, after the war, the rector of the house, Markus Bunyer, asked me if he could use some of my pictures for the newsletter of the house. And I agreed, and I just in the same time I said, if there is any chance to make an exhibition in your house, I would be very happy. And he responded very positively. So we sat together and we decided to take the pictures of Gaza because it's something people can't see. People who come, pilgrims or tourists that come to the Holy Land, cannot go to Gaza, and people from Gaza cannot go out and tell how it is. So we decided to take these pictures, and I'm very happy.
The photographs on show at the Austrian hospice in the Old City of Jerusalem were mostly taken in 2014 and 2015, but some are from 2009.
I admit when I went to Gaza for the first time I was a little bit scared because all you see about Gaza is war and destruction and violence and poverty. So I had to go there and to see myself that it's only one side of Gaza, and on the other side you also have daily life. So children playing, parents going on the market, cars in the streets, donkeys in the streets. So my experience is that, of course, there is a lot of poverty and it's a very, very difficult situation and it's getting more and more difficult for the people. But on the other hand, I experienced people that are really lovely, really friendly and hosting me and very happy to share their stories, to invite me to their house, even though they may be not rich. They invite us to sit with them, to have tea, to eat. So it's a positive and a negative experience at the same time.
Every war causes more and more destruction, and reconstruction takes time. So before reconstruction is complete, another war begins. These are the words of the journalist who was particularly focused on capturing children's expressions.
Well, I think it's children, so children are more or less like everywhere in the world. Even though the situation is very difficult, they try to make the best out of it, so they walk in the ruins and they take it as a playground. It is dangerous for them, but at the same time, from the child's perspective, it's very interesting, of course. And you see a lot of children. Gaza has a very, very young population. I think half of the people are below 18 years old, so it's a very common picture to see a lot of children running around and playing.
Gaza has a very long and outstanding history, rich of many different aspects. This is what we want to focus on, because all this history left its traces in the city and of course in the mental map of people living there. This is what we want to point out.
Though not usually visited by pilgrims, Sebastia has been admired for a long time because of all the ancient wonders discovered here, including the tomb of St. John the Baptist. Close to the ruins of ancient Samaria, it was founded by Herod the Great, so there are archaeological ruins from the Roman and Byzantine eras.
سباسطيا خاصة في فترة العصر الحديدي الثاني كانت مركز لمنطقة.
The importance of Sebastia lies in the fact that it was inhabited from the first half of the Bronze Age, around 3200 BC. The presence of human settlements in Sebastia is especially evident in the second half of the Iron Age. It was the center and capital of the north.
الفترة الرومانية كانت سباسطيا مركز كولوني برتبة كولوني أي أنها مدينة تصدر.
Inhabitation continued through the periods of the Assyrians, the Babylonians, then the Greeks, Romans, and finally the Muslims. During the Roman period, Sebastia was considered a colonial center, since it used to mint its own currency. Its religious significance is due to the presence of the tomb of St. John the Baptist, who is said to have been killed here. The Christian presence in Sebastia poses more questions than answers. It has now been reduced to a single family, living in the midst of more than 3,000 Muslims. It consists of father, mother, and 3 children, and because of the difficult situation, they are living apart from the rest of their family.
أنا مولود في قرية سباسطيا وأبوي من مواليد البلد وكان لنا بيت.
I was born in Sebastia, and my father was born here. We had a house, this same one. Now we are alone. I have neither relatives nor neighbors. My personal relationship with the villagers is great, however. As for the protection of the church, there have been several attempts to unhinge the door or put a piece of metal in the lock so that I would not be able to open it any longer. But I guard the church and the courtyard in front of it.
الكفل على أساس أتغلب في فتحه.
This presence is so small that it may soon end, as the hardships of living here may force Sami and his family to leave their village and all the things that have kept them here up until now.
في اختلاف طبعا كتير من
There is great difference between the life I had in Zababdi and the life I have here in Sebastia.
في سباسطيا طبعا أنا لحالي العائلة المسيحية لحالي.
Of course, we are the only Christian family that lives here. We plan to move to Zababdi not for my sake but for my children's. I want them to have a Christian education and I want them to grow up with other Christians. Here we have no social relationships. They feel different than everybody else.
بحسوا إنهم عايشين حياة غير شكل.
We are here to tell you about the Holy Land, to raise awareness and visibility of the Mother Church of Jerusalem, local Christians, and holy places. We are here to tell so many forgotten stories of daily efforts, courage, and faith. We are here to promote hope in the land of God. Support those who give a voice to custody of the Holy Land's work.